Go, Dan.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for jumping on the BlockathonDAO induction call, and we're really excited to kick it off. So thanks, everyone, for joining. I hope that we have people joining the YouTube, right, Adri?
Yes, soon.
Okay. In any event, it's recorded, so we can share it afterwards. So just before we get started, we'll share a quick kind of intro and motivation for why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. And then Tom will give a rundown on how the bounty tracks are going to look like. Paul will give us some housekeeping, and then we'll have a chat to the marvelous contributors, Luke Anderson here, Isaac, Miss Zenith, and Adri, that will share kind of the motivation for why this journey is going to be super fun and exciting, and we're all super happy to have everyone on board. Yeah, so we can get started, right? Okay, I'm going to share screen then. Let's see. You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Very much like a work in progress slides that Mark has helped create. So yeah, so as probably if you're here and joining the call, you would know by now that there is an epic cyber native creative explosion that is the BlockathonDAO. And we've been running them since 2017, and now we're starting to make them more accessible and scalable so that they'll be available for people online, as well as kind of low-key bonus IRL offline, because IRL is the real premium and we like it, right? Especially after being locked down for so long with COVID and all these shenanigans. All right, so now like for the important philosophical questions, why do you blockathon? You blockathon because it's public goods. But really, let's talk about the inspiration a bit. I think this is the blockathon why. So crypto literacy is basically, as all literacy, it's equipping people with the ability to differentiate between truth and false, and truth is very important to be able to know what's the truth. Public goods, it's healthy. Go out to the park. The park is public goods. It's covered by taxpayers' money, and we're having fun and breathing fresh air. Equally, we want to bring these experiences that are equipping you with crypto literacy to the cyber wilderness so that you can get equipped with knowledge and truth. And finally, wealth. So besides having like kumbaya and have kind of like feel good vibes, you need to support your life with wealth creation experiences, and ideally do it by doing things that you are uniquely positioned to express your creativity with. So this is why these experiences that you will come through in the Blockathon are hopefully going to equip you to create your wealth as well. And then like kind of inspiration for where things came from. So there are three pillars to personally like why I feel like it's really touching on or hitting the nerve there. Naval Ravikant is a very prolific investor, one of the kind of most prolific angel investors back in the day, and now I think he's not angeling so much, but he said he started AngelList because he got tired of saying no to founders. And then why only rely on himself when he can scale that experience of early stage venture activity globally and let people come and find projects, let founders come and find investors, let people come and find projects to work with the hottest new startups. And there's Y Combinator. Paul Graham is writing fantastic essays. If you haven't been reading them, highly recommend. And Y Combinator has pretty much pioneered what is a startup accelerator, so creating a very condensed experience for people to come and extract outside of themselves the creativity and build something that the world wants and generate value to society. And something that already hits a little bit closer to crypto, there's Gitcoin, Kevin Owoki. I prepared the slides 5 minutes before, so I forgot to add the name here on this one. But Kevin Owoki is the founder of Gitcoin, which is a public goods platform that allows people to find great bounties or allows projects to come and engage with the open source developer community. And he's talking a lot about the whole regenerative economies and getting green pilled towards this kind of how to build a viable open source community. So inspired by that, I came up with some stuff just now, which is if we want to scale the experiences of freedom, we need to build resilient open source world. We don't want it to be captured by anything, so it has to be open source. So instead of building more electronic shopping malls to consume more things that we don't really feel happier or healthier with and just put it later in landfill, we can instead build a public goods in the cyber wilderness and create something that is much more organic and allows people to express their creativity in that world. So that's kind of like where the inspiration for me comes from. And I think the time is now really ripe where the kind of Web3 floodgates have been open. Everyone wants to be an NFT creator. We have here Miss Zenith, which will share a little bit about her journey of being an NFT creator. And everyone wants to vibe and contribute in a DAO. And basically, throughout this Blockathon, you'll be able to learn on how to participate and join those experiences and be rewarded for it. So it's a fantastic learn to earn opportunity, basically. The learning tracks that I think maybe Tom and Paul will speak about in a little bit more detail are, broadly speaking, there's DeFi, decentralized finance, NFTs, which is all those like crazy visual experiences in crypto that have been taking off this past year or so, and DAOs, decentralized autonomous organization, or more kind of in approachable way. How do we create productive coordination organisms online without those legacy, you know, like lawyers and accountant and stuff that we really don't need because we can do better than that by now. And finally, middleware, which is besides the base layer chains, we have all kind of compute networks that are supporting storage or scalable cloud computing that is also important to be decentralized. So otherwise it won't be, won't be continuously running and can be stopped, just like legacy Web 2 or otherwise. So we have several sponsors and partners that have been generous with mentors, which you'll meet throughout the week on Discord and sessions from both the Ethereum and the, broadly speaking, the EVM world. There's Metis DAO. I think shortly Paul will cover that more. And Substrate ecosystem, Algorand, Near, and Aleph. And yeah, so today is the first day. So really excited to kick it off. And we'll have this engine warm-up phase between now, 1st of March to 17th of March. And this is the time where if you're ready to rock and work hard, awesome, good on you. If not, it's also great that you're still with us and you'll have opportunity to ask questions on Discord and reach out to mentors. And if you need any help, just reach out on Discord to ask whatever it is that you feel like if you're lost or need some pointers. And then finally, on 18th to 20th, we'll have the condensed weekend where we'll kind of conclude it with the demo night where people will share their project and compete on prizes. So stay tuned for more details on that when we get closer to the 18th. And just a word on our partners. So we have some venture funds partners. We have some early stage projects, communities. Yeah, we'll hear about all of those throughout the event. So I think that concludes the motivational part of this induction, and I'll pass it on to Tom to share a little bit more about the bounty tracks and whatnot. So over to you, Samurai Des.
Hey everyone, I'm glad to be here. So my name's Tom. I've started to help out with the Blockathon since it first started back in Sydney. So glad to be here. So I don't particularly have slides, but wanted to go over bounties and a bit about workshops. So with this learn to earn experiment we're doing, we have bounties. So as a way for you to experiment and learn about the space, as well as, you know, have some fun, team up with some people, whether it's around the world or in Australia. So yeah, so we'll be posting up and revealing our bounties shortly from our sponsors. So the way it'll work is we'll upload them onto our GitHub repo. And then from then onwards, you can select and say which kind of bounties you'd like to work towards. And then our sponsors will be engaging with you within the channels on Discord that we'll touch on a bit shortly. But yeah, essentially we'll be there to support you, answer questions around what bounties you'd like to work on. And also we will have things for everyone to hack on as well towards the end of the closing ceremony of things. So that will be done also in the IRL event. So yeah, look out for the bounties. There'll be really awesome ones that you can work on. Workshop wise, since we're kicking off today, we'll also be publishing a calendar, which will have all the workshops that you'll get to know, what kind of projects are in the space, what they're all about, and even get to chat to some of these founders that you might not have access to usually. So yeah, really excited to kick these off for both the whole BlockathonDAO as well as things regarding the bounties and the workshops. Cool. So I guess we'll be moving on. Daniel?
Yeah, Paul, I think you're please be our Sherpa here.
Sure. So hello everyone, my name is Paul. I'm actually from Rad Adelaide. I've been a part of this blockathon for the last, 2 weeks, more on the operational community side. And it's really been fantastic. We've got a small tight crew here. It's been a little bit chaotic at the beginning, but we've got a few sponsors on board. So specifically, we've got DAO, we've got Aleph, and we've got Algorand as potential sponsors for this event, which is fantastic. We've got a few other projects looking to provide workshops and learning tracks and bounties, just like Tom said. So we'd really love all of you to explore the calendar that's going to come out and join the Discord. So one of the things that's really important is when things like these are starting out is, to build a community. And so if you're actually involved in any way with the blockathon, with your participation in the workshops or bounties, jump on the Discord, because there's going to be people that are going to be on board in the blockathon later on who might not be aware of what's happening or might not know the details that you might have, because you're going to be an expert koala very, very soon, right? So make sure you're on the Discord and you're communicating and you're talking about what you're up to. We're very excited about what's coming up. We also have the potential of a few more sponsors coming up as well. So what you'll find is at the moment we're having a kickoff event, and as March 18th comes along, things become more and more intense, more workshops, more bounties will be available. And the activity will build up. So in preparation for that, just make sure, once again, you're communicating in Discord, you're aware of our Twitter, and basically contributing to all the great vibes, all the great koala vibes that we're trying to instill. So in general, like Daniel said, this is kind of a learn to earn public goods kind of platform. So of course, we run this blockathon and we want to make it as successful as possible. But it's not just about this particular event. We're going to have continual bounty tracks, continue going on outside the blockathon, through our website, etc. They'll be on an ongoing basis. And so the idea is, regardless of future blockathons that are going to be occurring, there's always going to be kind of bounty tracks, which is really interesting, because you're going to have the ability to participate in some small way, or maybe even a large way, with projects in the industry, get access to mentors and founders that ordinarily wouldn't have access to at all. So you're going to get that, that insightful first layer industry experience that usually would take you many months to get access to. And you'll be able to get that just through what we're doing here. So it's not just about participating now and getting a feel for a hackathon and joining a few workshops. It's actually building a community and building this vision of allowing anyone to be able to contribute in some small way. And we're hoping over the next 3 to 6 months, this continually builds up. So that's kind of more of a longer term vision. So it's not just about participating now, but this could really be a really great platform for the future. So keep that in mind when you're joining, and hopefully that encourages you even more to participate. So we're all very excited for what's to come. So very happy to meet you all soon.
Epic. Thanks a lot, Paul. And I'm sure we'll hear more from you as you're kind of herding the cats along the next couple of weeks or so. And Yeah, next, I think what would be really cool is to hear from Miss Zenith, that is a very talented NFT creator that is currently anonymous. And yeah, if you can kind of like, share with us your journey of getting into becoming an NFT creator, and whatever you feel comfortable sharing with your background. You have some technical background that is really interesting. So yeah, please, like, over to you.
Hi, I'm not very good at doing these open-ended questions yet. So how I got started was I've been making art for all my life, but I've never really put anything up for market or anything. And then I was in a Twitter space sometime in about September and October, and I was kind of sitting there not saying anything, just kind of leaving it on in the background. And then one of the hosts was like, "Hey, Miss Zenith, you've been in this room for a long time. You should say something." And then I was forced to go up and speak. And then they were like, "Show us your work." And I was like, "Oh, okay, here's the thing." And then he messaged me after and said if I turned it into an NFT, then he would buy it. So that's a lot of motivation to kind of like learn the ropes and get into it. So that's how I sold my first NFT. And then ever since that piece, I went on to do 3 more collections, and just every time like pissing myself scared and like learning lots of things, and still figuring out my way through the NFT world, and also still figuring out my style. I like investigating the linkages between the past and the present in my work, and also just playing a lot with colors and how light affects the darkness. What else? Recently I released a Zodiac collection, and it was just, I just do 1 of 1 art so far. So it was just 12 animals for the Zodiac collection.
Miss Zenith, I remember hearing you on Twitter Space saying something really interesting, which was before you were called Miss Zenith, you were called just Zenith or something, and
yeah,
people would refer to you as bro, and that's why you added Miss. And I think it's really cool that we have like a lot of NFT creators from all genders or walks of lives, or so if you can just share your experience on what was it like.
Yeah, I originally I liked the idea of Zenith, which is like the Zenith angle, which is the sun's position relative to the earth. And then if you draw, hold on, I forgot. It's not the horizontal, but the other one. I just thought it was a cool sounding word and a cool concept. And I thought Zenith was nice, but everyone kept calling me bro. And then I put a miss in front of it. I still get called bro. But in terms of how I know there are a lot less women than, it's not 50-50, but what I found is it's like my experience is it has been quite encouraging, and everyone's generally been very welcoming and keen to explain things, quite patient to explain, and quite encouraging of each other. And every time I always manage to find help and receive help very well. And people have been quite receptive of my art and confusion. So it's been really welcoming in my experience, but perhaps because it's quite small still and it's still early.
Yeah, we shall see where does it develop. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Miss Dani. And I think to speak to something that Paul had mentioned earlier, so one part that is super important about the Blockathon is that you get the privilege of connecting directly to people that dedicate their time to help you, like Miss Zenith here, that is a creator. So hopefully we'll get some of her support for teams. By the way, she also designed the Blockathon logo, so thanks for that. And like also Luke Anderson here, which is actually one of the best nerds that I met in Sydney since coming here a few years ago. One of the first like hardcore crypto nerds that I met here.
Hardcore crypto nerd.
We used to even mine in UNSW when we got internet and power for free for some time there.
That is true. Yeah, we had milk crates full of graphics cards. Quite literally.
So look, maybe like if you can kind of share your share your kind of vision for why you're interested in contributing to open source community, to the Blockathon, and kind of how you're hoping to be engaging with participants, koalas.
Yeah, of course. I really value education. I think education is a really powerful thing, and I spend a lot of my time playing with gadgets and all kinds of different technologies. And when I first came across cryptos and all that stuff back in early days, I was like, oh my God, this is a game changer. Oh my God. And so I, deep dove and played with that and just couldn't learn enough, and found out that, if I can go and run a meetup and jump into some meetups and do some talks, then, everyone else is learning too. And this is great. Plus I teach at the university in information security. And so that's been one of the ways I've really enjoyed giving back and seeing that bright spark in my students' eyes. And they're like, oh yeah, I get it. This is really interesting. That's really rewarding for me. And so when I was approached to join this to sort of help sort of impart some of my knowledge of this space to the participants, I was like, yeah, for sure. Knowledge is power.
Beautiful. Yeah, I remember you always really valued education and a big part of the academic vibes. So that's...
Yeah, I don't know about the academic vibes. There's a lot of red tape that comes with that term, which I avoid at all costs.
Well, you said it, I'm being gentle here.
I'm a fake academic. I'm not a real academic.
Well,
You teach at a university.
Yeah, but I'm not a lecturer. I don't have a real job at the university. I'm a contractor. They pay me. I come in, I do my lectures, and I go home.
Surgical.
They deal with the red tape.
That was a good deal, to be honest.
It's the only deal I'll accept.
Cool. So I reckon maybe moving on, something that I think is super interesting to see, like in every time that the ecosystem is growing, there's new talent and there's kind of new inspiring generation that is coming. And recently I got connected to the DAO Under Crew, and Isaac here represents and has been contributing really generously with your time and creativity. So kind of would be great to hear, how do you feel like the Web3 ecosystem has become your home, and what do you hope to be bringing here and contributing with, and what do you hope to create here together?
Thanks for the quick intro, Daniel. It's really good to be here. Hi everyone, Isaac here from DAO Under. To give you a little bit of background, so I got into crypto back in 2017, and that was just before the bull run. When the bull run ended, I couldn't continue staying in the space just because there was no easy way for me to build. Like DAOs weren't really a thing. NFTs were a thing, but it was not at the peak level that we're seeing at the moment. Fast forward a few years, I was working on my Web2 startup, and I couldn't stop thinking about DAOs just because of the way that DAOs are aligning incentives across different stakeholders. Started contributing to a few DAOs like Index Group and a learning DAO based in the States. And I met a bunch of really interesting Web3 native people who decided to build a Web3 community here in Australia and New Zealand. But what started off as an alpha group eventually turned into a vision where we wanted to bring all the Web3 talent here in APAC together. We're starting here in Australia and New Zealand, but we eventually have goals to expand beyond different cities across Asia Pacific, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. But what I'm seeing at least, is the fact that people have a way for them to explore Web3 unlike before. Like now you could actually think about the cultural, societal impacts of Web3 and not just crypto, not just blockchain, but rather how it's going to impact the way people work, play, and live. And that's pretty much the goal of DAO Under. It's to bring all these creators, learners, and builders all together and provide them with the best community possible as they venture through their own journey in Web3. It's going to be full of ambiguity. It's going to be full of uncertainty. What we want to do as communities, allow them and give them the resources, whether that's through knowledge, whether that's through the eventual goal of supporting them through incubators or accelerators. But point is, like, we want to create a community-owned community that allows everyone to do their best work within the Web3 space. Yeah, lots of talent coming into the space. People are dropping out of uni for Web3. People are leaving their Web2 job, leaving their equity on the table to come into Web3. And I feel like that speaks a lot of volume. And obviously the crypto market hasn't been great over the past couple of months, but it doesn't feel the same. Like, it feels like people are staying here for long-term value, and that's a huge difference. And I'm really excited about that.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that sentiment is really strong. Like, you can really feel, think specifically like from the DAO Under Crew and this, like, people are really motivated, and it's not about the market as much as it is this creative energy that people really want to share and come and collaborate and like make a change in the world and like really make a difference, which is awesome. And I think specifically also APAC Vibes is really like, every region has its own flavor. So it's really interesting that you kind of start seeing those themes emerge already in crypto, where it's like used to be very niche. Now it's already so big. So every region is bringing its own flavor. So it's awesome to see how DAO Under is like really stewarding it.
Yeah. And like, in fact, like, one of the biggest reasons we wanted to start DAO Under was the fact that Web3 currently runs in the US and European time zones. And I'm sure like we've had to stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning to attend a specific call or like to meet someone in the States. And that's not great, right? Like, that's not sustainable with everything that's happening within the space. Like, it's moving so quickly. Discord is just popping off across different communities. Like, how do you make it sustainable? It's actually one of the lowest hanging fruit is to have local APAC friendly initiatives and events and communities here. So yeah, to your point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I guess last but definitely not least, Adriana, which I think the first ever crypto meetup that I joined when I came to Australia was Bitcoin Wednesday in the Metropolitan. And Adriana has been amazing in just how much she gave to the community throughout those years and keeps just always contributing. So yeah, Adriana, please like share with us your kind of ethos for what brings you all this energy that is seemingly infinite, because you're always there to help, and it's amazing. So please share with us your secret sources.
There's that old saying that goes something like, if you love your job, you don't work a day in your life, or something like that. I pretty much live by the motto. Like, the internet has always inspired me. I saw Web 1 evolve into Web 2, and that was all very good, but Web 3 has really resonated with this community mindset that I've always had, and the opportunity to let people live their best life, work on what they want to, working from whenever they want to. That is, I think, a fantastic shift in the way we do things, and I'm really loving this experience. And I was laughing to myself here while Isaac was saying, oh, it's really bad to be at those 3 a.m. calls. We've all experienced this, but we also have all experienced being awake until 4 a.m. playing games. So it's like, okay, it's good for one thing, but it's not good for others. So one thing that I'm finding in my own life is that with Web3, there is no line. The lines are all, they've all been moved, and we sleep when we want to, we play when we want to, we work when we want to, and that is really, really incredible.
Cool. All right. So I think actually we managed to kind of cover quite a lot here in just the 30 minutes. And this is basically it's a good opportunity to get to know a bit of Blockathon crew here and some of the stories and backgrounds here. You'll hear definitely more from each of us, and feel free to DM or at on Discord if you want to reach out to anyone from the crew that was speaking here today. And yeah, looking forward for next events and next workshops. And actually, are there any questions on the YouTube chat, Adri, or anyone otherwise want to bring up something before we start wrapping up?
Comments. Let me see. There's one question. Is DAO still considered a partnership in the eyes of the law in Australia, or does it now have PTY LTD protections? Oh, there's always legal questions when we have live stream.
I think this is a fantastic question. I would refer you to my friend Michael Bacino from Algorand. You can definitely ask him and nerd with him about legalese. Here we're kind of like mostly about nerding out on open source and bounties. So we'll see if we get to kind of maybe bring Mike or another friend to a panel at some point. But I think that at this stage, unless someone wants to take this question, seems a little bit out of scope for the panel. So yeah, anyone wants to take it?
I'll make a comment. There has been no formal legal structure made for DAOs in Australia. The latest Senate report proposed one, but that has not been come into effect yet. I think it will be a long process before that happens, because a lot of consultation have to happen within government. There will be a lot of these conversations coming up at Blockchain Week, which is organized by Blockchain Australia, starting right after our hackathon weekend. So sign up to the live stream for those, because they are free, and you can find out the latest. Good plug there.
Yeah, absolutely. Blockchain Week after Blockathon is going to have heaps of speakers, and it's going to be great shebang. In some ways, we kind of scheduled the Blockathon to build the momentum and capitalize on all that before. So yeah, good plug. And yeah, if there are no further questions, we can I guess like proceed to koala hack and sleep in the eucalyptus. So yeah, that would be it, right?
All right, let's sleep in the eucalyptus.
All right, cheers. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, good luck. And yeah, if there are no further questions.